I show it is now 7:15 PM on Wednesday, July 7th, 2021. I'd like to bring the Finance and Personnel Committee to order. Number one, call to order and roll call. Alder Jim Olson,
Here.
Alder Tom Smith,
Here.
and Diane Wolf is here. And there are several people in the audience that are too numerous to mention this. Thank you. Number two, consideration and action on minutes from the previous meeting.
Motion to approve. I'll second.
Motion by Alder Olson, seconded by Alder Smith. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor of said motion say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries unanimously. Item number three, public input, limited to 3 minutes per individual. If there is anyone in the audience who would like to give public input at this time, they may do so. Please state your first and last name and your home address, and you have 3 minutes. First call for public input. Second call for public input. I don't see anyone on the line looking to give public input. So third and final call for public input. I will close that portion of the meeting and move on to the printed agenda. Consideration and possible action on the following items. Number 4, swearing in of new City of Onalaska Finance Director / Treasurer, Sabrina Steger. We've waited 40 years for this. Or maybe Fred has waited 40 years for this.
Fred, now you can leave.
Oh, not yet.
I will have you raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Sabrina Steger,
I, Sabrina Steger,
having been appointed to
have been appointed to
the Office of Financial Services Director
the offices of Financial Services Director
and City Treasurer
and City Treasurer
for the City of Onalaska,
for the City of Onalaska,
swear that I will support
swear that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and will faithfully and impartially
and will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of said office
of said office
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
And thank you to Sabrina's family for also seeing the new changeover this evening.
Welcome.
Thanks for coming and welcome. Okay, so item number 5, 2021 Omni Center financials.
Okay, in your packet this evening, on page 2 of the financials, it ended up being on page 3. There was a $20,000 shortage between the revenues and expenditures. However, the journal entry for the second half of the dollars coming from the Special Projects Fund, which is a totaling of about $18,000. And then the second quarter room tax, which will come in a couple months, which averages approximately $12,000 to $14,000. So with those two, or especially the $18,000, it pretty much comes pretty even to where the Omni Center is at this point.
Thank you, Fred.
Nice.
Chair will entertain a motion to accept and place on file.
I'll make that motion. Second.
Motion by Alder Smith, second by Alder Olson to accept the 2021 Omni Center financials and place on file. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of said motion say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item 6, 2021 General Fund financials. Fred.
Okay, starting on page 7 of the city's general fund financials, contains your balance sheets, excuse me, as well as the fund balances. Starting on page 10 and 11 is the revenues. I don't see anything out of the ordinary, other than the fact, I believe we have talked about it last month, as the interest income, which is on page 11, account number 100-48100. We anticipated 50,000 for the year. We're sitting at 7,536. the interest rates have dropped off to that area of about 0.09%. Starting to come up a little bit, but it's going to take a while. Other than that, in the expenditure side, I didn't see anything other than the normal expenditures, unless you have any questions for me.
Questions of any council members, any F&P members?
I'll make a motion that we approve the 2021 general fund financials. Second.
Motion by Alder Smith, second by Alder Olson to accept the 2021 general fund financials. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor of said motion say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item 7, approve school resource officer for 2021, 2022. Who is taking this?
I'll turn it over to Chief Ashbeck.
Welcome.
Chief.
Good evening, thank you. Yeah, before you, we have the contract for the next year for the school resource officer position. I believe the school board has approved that and forwarded over their signed copy, and so we're looking to now have city officials here approve and, I guess, seal the deal on the contract. So if you have any questions, let me know.
I have just one quick question. We've seen this before. Is everything pretty much the same, except I realize on page 29, I'm assuming that the rates have been adjusted for employees and such, but I'm assuming that there really hasn't been any substantive changes to this from previous.
Yes, there was only one minor change that the school had suggested. I don't have it in front of me, I apologize, but it's something with having a mutual consent if we want to change the job description or hours, let's say, that we both parties consent and not just one side or the other. So it essentially protects them or us, because the way it was written, the school could have changed his hours.
Great, thank you. Wishes of the F&P?
I'll make a motion that we approve the school resource officer for 21-22. Second.
Motion by Alder Smith, seconded by Alder Olson to approve the school resource officer for 2021 to 2022 as presented this evening. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor of said motion say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries unanimously. Item F8, denial of a request for reimbursement of municipal citations. Is this Amanda? In absence of Amanda, Eric, our city administrator?
Amanda did include in your packet a memo expressing her recommendation to deny the request and stated reasons for that. Basically, in short, it's in the hand of the Wisconsin State Debt Collection Agency. Also, there's been no indication of what she claimed in her request to us to reimburse is record of that on our behalf. So we recommend denial of her request.
Thank you. So the recommendation is for a denial. What are the wishes?
I'll make a motion that we deny the request for reimbursement of the municipal citations as noted in agenda number 8. Second.
Motion by Alder Smith, second by Alder Olson to deny the request for reimbursement of municipal citations per item F8. Discussion. Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor of said motion say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries unanimously. Item F9, authorization of a request in the amount of $2,235.50 from the Police Department Equipment Designated Fund Balance Account for purchase of external Wi-Fi access points.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion by Alder Olson, second by Alder Smith to approve the amount of $2,235.50. Discussion. Chief, do you want to add anything or are we good? Okay. Great, thank you.
I just have a question. Chief, we don't have that already? We don't have that? Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And I thought of a question.
Yeah,
Voice doesn't carry as well, I guess. No, it's to manage our wireless uploads from our squad cars for the
Oh,
videos.
okay.
So it gives us a broader range around the building to be able to manage that instead of just inside our
Always
garage.
kinda- Okay, so that'll be a real big improvement, yeah. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
And also, Chief, I noticed I noted in the memo, you said this is phase one of strategically installing access points. Do you have an idea of how many phases? I'm guessing it's depending upon funding, but are you thinking a couple more phases or?
Yeah, I guess it does depend on funding. I mean, we're partnering with the IT department on this project right now. They're funding 50% as we're doing the other 50%. Because that will also help. Actually, we're installing an access point up at the Omni Center. I just remembered as part of this project. And so that allows squad cars to park up there and upload instead of always coming back here. But as part of that, as the city installs fiber around town, our hope is that other facilities such as the library or maybe well stations or other areas, we could install these access points and squads could then stay parked or, on the east side of town and upload instead of always driving back here. So I don't know what to say. I'm hoping maybe just one more phase, but it might be 2 more phases.
Great, thank you. Any other discussion at this time of item number 9 to approve?
I take it, Fred, we have that money in the designated account, right? Yeah, okay.
So all those in favor of said motion say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries unanimously. And on to personnel. Number 1, recruitment update from HR Manager Amy Franzen.
Sorry about that. Just to kind of summarize the information that is before you, the updates since the last meeting, we've got an active recruitment going on right now for 2 openings in Public Works. We've got an operator and an operator slash lab assistant. Since the last F&P meeting, just to give you an update with our hires, we've got our human resources generalist that was since filled last week. Obviously, our financial director was filled as well last week. And we do have a park and rec office specialist that will be filled later this month. In terms of our police and firing hiring, we've got 4 vacancies right now as police officers. We've got 1 that was filled. And that start date for that individual is actually July 6th. And we've got 2 other candidates that are have contingent offers at this point that we're hoping to wrap up by the end of the month as well. And we've got 1 opening for police officer that we're still considering what that process will be going forward to fill that vacancy. In terms of our firefighter EMT vacancies, we've got 3 vacancies. We've got 1 contingent offer out there, hoping to wrap that up hopefully this week or next week. And we've got 2 that are undergoing the background process.
Great, thank you so much. Any questions of AB? Jim? Great, thank you. So moving on to item 2, memorandum of understanding between the City of Onalaska and the La Crosse Area Professional Firefighters Local 127. Assistant Chief Noren, good evening.
I'm sorry. Good evening. Before you is a proposal to just create a addition to the non-uniform clothing items available for our members so they can wear shorts in the summertime. The last few weeks have seen some unseasonably warm weather, and we just wanted to move on that while the weather was still warm and not wait till colder weather to approve them.
Thank you, Chief. Wishes of F&P?
I'll make a motion that we approve the memorandum of understanding between the City of Onalaska and the La Crosse Area Firefighters Local Number 127.
Second.
Motion by Alder Smith, second by Alder Olson to approve agenda item number 2 under personnel, the memorandum of understanding. Discussion. Eric?
Thank you. Just one point of clarification. For the duration of the agreement, it becomes a optional approved item. It is not a mandatory one, and it's not a city purchase at this point in time.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of said motion to approve, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Chief. Item number 3, approval of position descriptions with grades and to recruit positions in the following departments. We will start with A, Parks and Recreation. I think we'll start with Eric and then Dan.
First, just a brief introduction. Last month, both F&P and council, the org charts were approved. So what you see before you today are the same org charts, but with some additions to it. Those additions basically are then the position scoring of those positions. And then further on beyond the org charts are the actual job descriptions for each department as well, newly recreated. Just a quick note on the two departments. Through the compensation study that was completed, it really did two things for us. First thing that it did for us was compare positions as per the job descriptions in a competitive marketplace. And that did cost almost $200,000 to move people then at least to a competitive wage, which was done as of January 1st of this particular year. The second thing it did is provide the scoring mechanism then we have to maintain the program, which was applied for these positions as well, and position descriptions. The scoring methodology, furthermore, was utilized for all positions across both these departments to make sure that we were consistent in the scoring and for the job requirements across all the job factors. So for the reason for perhaps the lengthy process is both rewriting the job descriptions and then verifying that the scoring was done in an equitable and consistent manner across both departments. Any questions you have, again, we're all here.
Thank you, Eric. Dan, would you have anything to add, or do you want to wait for questions, or I'll leave that up to you, what you would like to do?
I really have nothing to add. I'll just be here to answer questions if you have any that the committee may have. So I'll just wait and if anybody has anything.
Okay, thank you, Dan. So what are the wishes of the FNP? Do you want to take the entire packet of Parks and Rec all at once? Do you want to take them individually? What are the wishes?
I'm okay with all at once. Are you, Jim?
It's fine. Fine with me. If that's all right with you.
Yeah, I mean, if we have any, we can always pull it out individually, but I think all together would be fine.
Right.
Okay.
Well, if you're going to pull out any individually.
No, I would say we'll just go ahead and approve it then. Yeah,
Parks
yeah,
and Rec.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the position descriptions with grades and to recruit positions on the following departments from the Park and Recreation area.
Second.
So motion by Alder Tom Smith, by Alder Olson to approve the position descriptions with grades and to recruit positions in the following department, which would be a Parks and Recreation Department as presented this evening. Eric, did you want to add anything about if there's any minor edit tweaks as far as?
Exactly what I was going to do. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Based on the motion to approve and the second on that, there has been some communications with some alders in review of the process as well. There are some minor modifications that will need to be done, and I'll take this opportunity to advise the committee and the council, if they approve, that those changes that we would make on behalf would be non-substantive, minor changes, clerical changes, administrative changes that would not change necessarily, would not change at all the scoring or anything else that we would have on those positions. As you see things that you may have concern, please notify us and we'll make those changes. But I don't believe that those future changes would require council action.
Just very minor editing, just random here and there that really need to be cleaned up.
Yeah.
Just needs to have that last filter. So any other discussion of item 3A for Parks and Rec to approve at this time?
Just a question for Dan. Do you think this gets us in a better position now?
I think we are. We have a lot of staff that have stepped up and done things, you know, with some of the reductions and things that we've had and some staff leaving. I think this puts us in a great place moving forward. We got a lot of great staff here, and we can move them into positions that they have been working on for the last few months, doing that and being able to move in the right direction. So I'm very confident that this layout, this org chart and descriptions and things, you know, is moving us in the right direction.
That's great news. I know they work pretty hard. I see them all the time when I'm walking around, and yeah, they do a nice job. So thank you.
Well, and Dan, thank you for all your work and your staff for all the work that you have put into. I know it's been several month process. This just didn't happen overnight. So obviously there's been a lot of thought and discussion and work put into this. So thank you.
Thanks, Jen.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, the motion on the floor is to approve item 3A, Parks and Recreation. All those in favor of said motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion carries unanimously. Let's move on to item 3B, Public Works. Eric, do you have anything to add or not at this time? Probably not.
I'll answer questions as they come
Okay.
up, but my introductory statement stands.
Okay, thank
We
you.
worked just as hard on this and the same statement about the scoring being equitable, just as a reminder. Again, these are also done with Park and Rec in mind.
Great, thank you. Jared, good evening.
Thank you.
Welcome. So you're just available for questions? I didn't know if you were going to have a speech or.
I don't, I guess I would lead in with, this is many months in the making. We did start this process the last half of 2020. With that, we've had the departure of our Public Works manager and our Assistant Public Works manager, which has led into the restructuring of the org chart as you see today. A lot of discussion has went into this, a lot of looking at different options, different ways of running the Public Works Department with the various things that are duties and tasks which were within the Public Works Department. So I think we've gotten to the point where we have something that we can move forward with and get some management positions, leadership positions back in our department and move forward.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion that we approve the position descriptions with grades and to recruit positions in the B Public Works area.
Second.
Excuse me. Motion by Alder Smith, seconded by Alder Olson to approve the position descriptions with grades and to recruit positions in Public Works. Discussion.
Derek, can I ask you the same question as I had Dan before? Carrie, I mean, you think this put us in a better position now?
Yes, I believe moving forward right now with the departures of our managers that we had, we need some leadership in our department to make decisions in my absence and things. So I think moving forward, this will get us in a very good spot that we can have duties delegated and it will be operational versus departmental. Our sub-departments within our department it'll be more operational so we can continue what we've started of trying to work together as a Public Works Department and do multiple tasks with multiple people.
Yeah, great. Yeah, I like that. And with Dan too, it takes the pressure off of you guys always having to be there and have people under you that can just step up and run with things. So
Thank you, Jared.
thank you.
Carrie? Recognize Carrie Burbaster.
Thank you, Your Honor. I just had a few questions about a couple of the job descriptions. And I know I've talked a little bit to Jared about them too, so he's expecting me to question these. The first question was on the GIS IT Asset Manager job description. The page number is listed as 69, but it's actually page 72 of your agenda. And under the job requirements, it requires a master's degree in GIS, geography, computer science, urban planning, or engineering, or equivalent experience required. And we don't have any job descriptions in the city that require a master's degree. So I was wondering if we could change that to a bachelor's degree with a preferred master's degree. So we would have a wide enough pool of candidates when we would have the need to advertise for that. And I'll just go ahead and ask all the questions and turn it back over to Jared. So he doesn't have to come in between here. The other item was I just kind of looked through them all of these, looking for the requirement for possessing the water license. And I know that the city is only required to have one water license per the city, but of course, we don't want just to have one. But on the other hand, I think there's some positions, if they don't work directly with water, I question whether it's necessary to have them. And the two that I had questioned with Jared was the Public Works Superintendent. There's actually two positions, and I didn't know if there would be one person that would be working mostly with the street side, if they would have that need to have that license. And I'll actually read the requirement on the job requirements. One is on page 75 for the superintendent, and the other one is on page 85. Those are the numbers on the bottom of the page for the maintenance worker cemetery. And the actual requirement reads, possess water operator's license in groundwater and distribution by the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources or ability to obtain within 1 year. And the thing is it costs the city money to have them get their license. They have to go through training. We have to have the license, pay for the license. They have to do recertification all the time to keep that license current. And if they're not really working with the water itself, it might even create a difficulty for them to even be able to study that and know, the details of what they're supposed to be taking. The Public Works Superintendent, I guess I don't know the division of duties there. Maybe Jared can address that. With the cemetery, I just couldn't see that there was any opportunity for that person to be working with the water. So I said, if I'm understanding that wrong, again, Jared can answer those questions. Those are just the concerns that I had with those positions. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'll start with the Public Works Maintenance Worker Cemetery. I did go back and forth with this position to see whether it would need a water license. Our current cemetery sexton, cemetery worker does have a water license and participates within our on-call rotation. And part of the reason that having multiple individuals with the water license is then we put them into our on-call rotation. So when there's a well lift station, something that goes down in the middle of the night, we want to have our water operators that are able to go out and be able to fix those things, attend to them. So we're trying to keep our on-call rotation down. So with only a limited number, we try and keep that number as many as we can, so that way we can be rotating through people. That way we don't have any few people that are always on call. So with that, with our current cemetery worker actually having a water license, I do see that it's not a need in the cemetery to have a water license. I do agree with that, but I am looking department-wide at the fact that we would then be trying to strengthen our numbers for our on-call rotation. So I am willing to look at that one. I'm not, with that one, I would be open to comments. For the Public Works Superintendent, we do have two individuals for that.
Could you wait just one quick second? So you said you were open for the comments, but you would, if I hear you right, the job description on page 85, you would prefer to keep that as written.
I would prefer to keep that due to the fact of trying to keep as many Public Works maintenance workers on the on-call rotation.
And as a follow-up, who is responsible for the payment of the Wisconsin DNR certification? Is that city paid or employee paid?
That's city paid, so that it's every 2 years. I am not quite sure how much it is. I think it's around $150.
But it is city paid, so there's not a burden on the employee to pay that, though. Okay, thank you.
And Alder Burmester is correct with the job descriptions of maintenance workers 1, 2, and 3. If you have a water certification, you can get a higher level of grade.
Okay, so then, and I apologize for interrupting, but I kind of wanted to wrap that up before we moved on. So, okay. So then the next ones, we're talking about the ones on page 75, I believe she referenced.
Yep, so the Public Works Superintendent.
Thank you.
Right now, we are showing both of those two positions with the number and tasks spanning a wide range of duties. We feel we need 2 superintendents. With that, I would want to have both superintendents have their water license and be able to answer questions. For instance, if there's an on-call emergency in any area of the Public Works Department on a weekend, or at night or whenever they would get the call. So what we're trying to do here is have, as we've been working toward for a number of years, is having multiple individuals that can do multiple jobs within and functions within the Public Works Department. With that, the Public Works Department cross-training, I do understand that there will be areas that not everyone will be an expert in every area, but we do want to be cross-trained and be able to answer those questions. So for instance, if the Public Works Superintendent is out of town or on vacation or something, the other Public Works Superintendent can step in and assist with those functions. So that one, I really feel we should have the water certification with it. So that way we're still combining the department, keeping it one unit.
And page 72, and I know I brought this up with you also earlier, was for the GIS, to possibly move that to suggested master's degree.
The GI.
I guess page 69, or my page 69, GIS.
Yes,
IT.
I am perfectly, I would recommend that, as Alder Burmaster had stated. I would embrace that, changing that to a preferred.
So master's degree in preferred in GIS, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Do we have to insert then any, I'm assuming that it's just assume that they'll have a BA then, if we say master's preferred? Okay. So then it would read under job requirements on page 69, master's degree preferred in GIS. Okay. We'll have to.
Or any of the computer science, urban planning, engineering.
Could you say that again?
So the job requirements currently read master's degree in GIS, geography, computer science, urban planning, or engineering, or equivalent experience required.
Correct. So it would read then master's degree preferred.
Preferred, yeah.
In GIS, geography, da, 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 da. Okay. So we would have to make that amendment if the committee were to so choose. Eric?
I would suggest, especially with Jared's comments, that he is supportive of that change as suggested by Alder Burmaster, that we will make that change prior to the council without motion.
Okay.
If necessary, we'll do that for final vote.
And I haven't heard Eddie, I think there's, due to lack of discussion, I'm going to assume, unless you two tell me otherwise, that there is consensus that we are going to leave the two positions with the water certification as is then, correct? Okay, so we will leave those as is. Thank you. Any other discussion? We do have a motion on the floor in a second to approve item 3B, the Public Works position descriptions with grades, and to recruit positions in the following departments with Public Works. Any other discussion at this time? Hearing none, all those in favor of said motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion carries unanimously. And also, Jared, don't go away just yet. I just want to thank you again very sincerely for all the work that you and your staff and everyone has put in. I know administration has put in a tremendous amount of work also in HR and legal, and we're almost there. So
Thank you.
Thank you again. Appreciate it. I got to find the bottom of the packet. Okay, so moving on to item 4. Out-of-state travel request for Assistant Fire Chief Les Noren to attend fire tactics class in Lake of the Ozarks, Missouri from July 15th, 2021 through July 18th, 2021. Chief?
Yes, this was a conference that Chief Noren was registered for when he was a captain at his previous department. Looks like a very good seminar for fitting into his professional development as a chief officer. What I recommended we do, because he already registered for it prior to approval from the city, is we could take care of the hotel, travel, and a meal allowance, should he use that amount, not to exceed $525.
525.
Yes.
And you said, I'm sorry, that acoustics are terrible there. That would be for travel expenses, which would include hotel and.
Right, he prefers to drive, so there's no flight, so it's probably gonna be a pretty long drive for him, but he'll use a city vehicle. We will support him, so he would not use benefit vacation time to go down to this conference.
So we're going to save for travel expenses, general
Yes.
travel expenses. You're
Yep.
comfortable with that? Okay, thank you. Okay. What are the wishes of the committee?
I'll make a motion that we approve the out-of-state travel request for Assistant Fire Chief Les Noren to attend the fire tactical class at Lake of the Ozark from July 15th, 2021 to July 18th, 2021.
Second.
And not to exceed the $525 in expenses. I just want to make sure you're okay.
And not to exceed, yeah, that's fine.
Thank you. So motion by Alder Smith, second by Alder Olson to approve the out-of-state travel for July for our Assistant Fire Chief Les Doran, not to exceed $525 for travel expenses. Any discussion at this time? Hearing none. All those in favor of said motion say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries unanimously. And item 5, adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Alder Smith, second by Alder Olson to adjourn. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of said motion say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, we are unanimously adjourned at 7:51 PM. Thank you, everyone, for coming in this evening.